Good morning, everyone. So, you guys know us. We are with Author Talk. I'm Amy, Fern, Russell, and our lovely guest today is Keith. So, you guys, hey, how was everybody's weekend? I have missed you guys. It's only been a week.
My weekend was not nice because
What?
my AC decided to quit. So
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And it's like,
What did you just say, Fern?
my AC quit.
Oh
It's
God!
like
it's on strike. It's on strike, and it's like the hottest time. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness.
So did you move in with someone else, huh, Bola?
No, I'm still here in the heat, but
I would have laughed.
Girl.
I'd have said, Mom and Dad, good luck. I'll see you next week.
Well, the downstairs unit is still working. So downstairs is nice, but upstairs where my office is and my room and stuff, that part is, in its dying moment. So
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine that. I would leave.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I just, truth be told, I would straight up, I would leave. Russell, what did you do this weekend? Anything? You're usually my adventurous one.
I got up at 4 o'clock every morning writing.
Oh.
And I wrote, I would write till my wife would get up about 7:30 because that's sleeping late for us.
Oh.
And then we would have coffee in the morning and go to the gym together and do all our stupid little being married stuff. We went to that beautiful farmer's market out on Airline again, the new one. Remember I talked to?
Oh yeah, the big one.
And got all sorts of fruit. It was great. We got some mangoes that were almost mushy. They were so ripe. Oh, we cut those things.
Wow.
You like wet mangoes, huh? Oh,
that sounded like
mangoes.
Similar to mine.
Cut up mangoes are like ice cream. They're so good.
Wow. Keith, what about you? Did you do anything exciting?
Oh yeah, that sounds very similar to my weekend. It was the first weekend that my daughter and I just had a chance just to do whatever we wanted. Summer's been really crazy. And she was here this weekend, and she actually got her braces on Friday, which was kind of traumatic because it made her sore. And so we had to find out different things to eat.
She had a whole different headache, didn't she, Keith?
Yes, she did. She learned how to take Advil really quick.
The Advil is magic.
Yeah. But you mentioned mango.
Fern writes science fiction like you. One of the important parts, it's like in Dune, the magic drug. I believe in the future of magic drugs. Therefore, I believe all good science fiction has magic drugs in them.
Keep the spice flowing. That's all I can say is keep the spice flowing.
Oh, don't act like you read Dune.
I did read
Fern and I had Keith. Fern is a believer in Star Wars, and I told her that's not science fiction. That's just silly. And so she's Star Wars, I'm Dune, and that's one of the things we fight about over good cigars. Where are you?
We don't fight. We have heated and happy debates.
I know, that's all.
I like Star Wars. I'm not a real big fan, but I always
then
like
you're as bad as Fern.
I like to joke about it, use the Force or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Force is with you always.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, can I tell a story?
You absolutely can. Go for it, Russell.
Okay, this is an update for our viewers. Hi, Sandy. An update for our viewers. A few weeks ago, I talked about a brand new author that was trying to get published for the first time, and she called me about publishers. And she had with contracts. I said, "Whoa! First thing you do is you research those publishers. You don't sign contracts. You don't even read those contracts." Well, I heard from her this weekend, as you and Fern both know, and she had done her research. She had discovered their malfeasance, and she was like, "Thank God I did that research." So, the first point for our viewers is you should always do your fiduciary duty to yourself. And
wait. She discovered their what? What was that word you used?
their malfeasance.
I
Their
love it.
bad intentions. Their lack of reassurance of anything they were going to do.
This
Exactly
is good.
right.
So
really have
she was like, what do I do next? Well, the next thing I did, now that she knows that she doesn't want to go that way, is I started giving her names of other people to call for advice, like Amy. What can Amy do to help her plan? I gave her Fern's name. I gave her Kelly's name. I gave her the great Texas Sisters Publications name, which I told her to get the phone number from one of you to call them, ask them what they thought, and if they had anyone else that they would suggest she call. And so that's her. And she needs to start researching Amazon to decide if she wants to do independent or self-publication. Right. So that's the latest there. It's going great. She has protected herself. She's moving forward. The end of story.
This is good. And you know what? It sounds like Indiepalooza would be a good fit for her too.
Actually, you should mention that to her if she calls you.
Yeah.
Nice.
I've heard of them too. Yeah.
Yeah. The Houston Writers Guild is having their next conference October 8, 9, and 10. It's going to be virtual. All of our presenters are coming in virtual. So, and it's Indiepalooza. It's our focus on, as an indie published author, you know, how do you indie publish? How do you market? How, you know, all the ins and outs of just indie publishing. And we have a really great panel. I'm super excited about this panel on indie filmmakers.
Yeah.
You know, it's everybody's dream as an author is your book, it becomes a movie. And, you know, it used to be kind of like with indie publishing that, you know, indie filmmaking was kind of like this B-rated, right? Really terrible thing. But they have come such a long way, just like indie publishing. I mean, they really are producing amazing, high quality films. And it's a huge way to kind of break into the market, you know, kind of cut out a lot of the Hollywood gatekeepers and find, you know, people interested in new material and opening up different thoughts. So we have some amazing indie filmmakers. One of them is here in Houston, and several others that, you know, are producers. So they're going to talk about how do you reach out to indie filmmakers and how do you connect with them with your material? Because I think that'd be really awesome.
Yes, thank you, Sandy.
That's exactly what's going on with the publisher that I'm involved with. They've teamed up with a production company out in Hawaii, and they're making independent films. And they're about to put their first film out on the local TV stations in Hawaii, and will branch out on the CW across the United States later on this year. And they're based on books that are done by the publisher that I'm with.
Wow, nice. That's awesome.
I'm hoping to get some of my books in front of that production company soon, because they've been optioning just kind of cherry picking the better books that have come out from that publisher to make them into either animated films or even live action films.
Nice. So talk to us about your book, Keith. You have some books. You're here on Author Talk to talk about your books.
Yeah.
So, you know, which book are we discussing today? Because you have a lot.
I came out with a new book that's science fiction, and it's also time travel science fiction, and it's called 2095. It's kind of based on science futuring, if you will, imagining our current events as they are right now and what it will be like, say, 70 years from now, 75 years. And it's actually based on an album, a musical album from a band from the 1970s and 80s that you might remember called the Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
People called it ELO.
Yeah, didn't you have to like be serious drug users to listen to that?
And they did an album in 1981 called Time. and it was a concept album that actually told just a loosely based story. And, you know, that was back when I was a kid, so I'm kind of dating myself a little bit. And I thought it was a cool idea if someday somebody would write a story based on that album. And it's been on my back burner for that long amount of time. So COVID kind of helped me, you know, stir my creative juices a little bit. And so that's the reason that it looks like I put out 3 books all at once. But during the COVID crisis, I've been, you know, as many of us had, lots of time on our hands. So I was busy just writing the whole time and then editing.
Nice. So you took full advantage of the COVID situation and worked it. Good for you. We love that.
They're all coming out at once, but it's because I did work on them one at a time.
Right. Yeah.
No,
we love that you turned something, you know, a negative situation into a positive for you, and we love that. And you know, hey, you got all these books underneath your belt, so that is exciting. So Fern, continue.
Well, I was going to ask, you know, so you've got time travel, and we know like the inspiration for it. So tell us a little bit about the story itself. Like, who's the protagonist? What are they up against? You know, come on, make us want to read it.
The protagonist's name is Nick Devereaux, and he lives in New Orleans, and it takes place at the same time that album came out in 1981. So that's his present date and time. And he is suddenly, during the middle of the night, during a full moon, is suddenly transported without warning to the future. It's like he's in a dream. And he wakes up, and he's on this orbiting city that's going around the Earth, and eventually finds out that he's in the future in 2095. And he has no idea why. And he meets this android, or a hologram of an android, that's a very beautiful woman, looks perfectly real like any other ordinary human being, and she's infatuated with him. And that's the reason she has brought him to the future, because she's in love with him, and she's also in love with his mind. He's like one of the smartest people in his field in 1981. And that's one of the reasons why he's been brought to the future. And his ultimate goal, the ultimate goal of the hologram, the android, is to get him to work on this project, a top secret science project on the moon. And so the reason that the people are orbiting the Earth in 2095 is taken from the fact that we've had all these pandemics. And I hypothesize that there's going to be a third one, which I hope there isn't, but that goes into the science fiction part. And so it kind of takes off.
Well, you know, we've had one every 5 years since the year 1999. Every 5 years we've had a new one in the world. So it's not stretching anything that we're going to have another one in about another 5 years. I mean, it's just been the cycle when the population hit a certain level that it's creating a cycle of about every 5 years creating a new virus.
Like that. So having knowledge of
global connectivity certainly doesn't help. I mean, we are very connected and travel to and from.
Travel everywhere. That's right.
Yeah. It's easy for it to cross the globe pretty quickly, as we saw, you know, with this one. So wait, so the AI actually is the one that brought him.
That's right.
To the future.
And so he has to put the mystery together on how she did it and why she wants him up there on the moon. And all this time, you know, he has a fiance back in 1981. He's ready to get married and start a family, and misses her terribly. And the fiance also witnessed him disappear into the future. Ooh. And so she's left there with all these question marks, and she's frantic and has no idea what happened to him. He's just gone. And so he gets future knowledge of, you know, he gets knowledge of what's coming in the next 114 years. And it's frightening to him. And it's also fascinating to see how much we have evolved into 2095. You know, we're living on a city orbiting the Earth, but there's people still on the Earth having to deal with the after effects and ravages of all these plagues.
Interesting. Cool.
So it's a mystery. It's an adventure. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of humor. There's even a little romance. So there's a lot of mixed in there, and people that enjoy the music of ELO, they're going to recognize I mean, the lyrics that kind of told the story in these songs, that they're going to pick up on it and say, yeah, I remember that.
That is very cool. So that's the soundtrack that goes with this.
Yeah, and each chapter is named after each title of the song in the order that the track listing on the album.
Oh,
you're a serious music fan.
That's cool.
I'm a huge music fan. It is very inspirational to me to help me write. I gain a lot of inspiration from music to help me create characters, to create situations, and to make it part of the feel during the story, to drive it along.
That's cool though. So you've I guess, and a better way of saying it is you've created a whole immersed experience within your book by having the inspiration from that album and the titles of each chapter, the songs that kind of correlate with it, go down the album. So you've really created a whole immersive experience reading this book. Because I mean, now it sounds like I need to go buy that and have that playing while I'm reading your book, right? I mean, it's just like a whole...
I was just gonna say, we need to, like, as we're reading, we need to be listening to the songs that go with each chapter.
Exactly, because in the beginning of the story, he goes and buys the album and gives it the first listen to while he's working on his computer. And that's the other thing, you know, computers were in their infancy back in 1981. So he has just set up this brand new, you know, big, humongous thing on his desk. It's an IBM. And while he's doing that, he's listening to this new record he bought at the record store. And the intro to that album is most unusual and very clever, I should say. And so that plays into the buildup to the point where he is whisked off into the future.
Wow. Nice.
So it's had a positive response so far. It even got into the Amazon top bestseller list just briefly over the summer. And so I'm excited about that and getting a good response as well on the reviews and ratings. And the ironic thing about what I tried to do, I learned that album was released on July the 2nd in 1981. So I made that as my launch date, exactly 40 years to the date that it was put out. So kind of to pay homage to their 40th anniversary. That's
very cool.
Released.
Wow. That's definitely.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have you contacted the band or anyone that was in the band or sent them a copy of the book? Because you should send them copies of the book.
I haven't sent them a copy yet, but I did contact them. And, you know, Jeff Lynne, he's the brains behind ELO. He's a big superstar in the music industry. And as I expected, I didn't get a response from him. And to be honest, I'm not the first person who has written a novel based on that album. There's been another book that came out in 2015 that also a totally different take that I had, kind of similar, but the stories are completely different. But that's how inspirational that music became. You know, other people have come up with that idea to write a book about the music itself.
And I would say, like what Russell mentioned about sending them a book. I mean, you might as well. You never know.
It's a good idea. I think I am going to
read it and love it. You know, I mean, just
actually no. Exactly. I actually know a writer in our position that actually did that, and magic's happening now for that writer because of it.
Is that right?
So I wouldn't, and it was, that person had somewhat the same attitude you did before they sent it to the inspiration. But they looked at it, and some magic's starting to happen for them. They liked it, they read it, and things happened.
Well, I'm going to look in to see how.
Send them a copy of the book.
Yeah, I'm going to see where I can send it to, and write a nice letter to go along with it to let them know you know, how it inspired me.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a good idea.
So, thinking
And
about this book, is there a sequel, or is this just going to be kind of a standalone because it was really focused on that one album?
Now that I've seen the response to it, I have been toying around with possibly writing a sequel or even making it a trilogy, because there is a lot of different directions that this story could go, particularly because it's time travel.
Yeah.
You can, I like putting my imagination to work and see where it can all go. But you want to make it exciting, you want to make it interesting, and not just have it there as a gimmick, you know, like the big blockbuster movies that have lots of money put into it, lots of special effects, but the story goes nowhere.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
don't, that's the trap that I don't want to fall into with writing sequels. But yeah, I have been thinking about it, and I probably will. I was going to start working on a paranormal story, but I think I might put that on the back burner because I'm having a lot more fun right now with the science fiction.
Well, and the wonderful thing about sci-fi and such is that you've created a world. I mean, you've created the world of what the future could be, right? And so you've got a lot of space to play in. Once you've got a universe created, you know, you've got a world created, you've set up all the parameters of what that world is like, you know, then there's just no end to how much you can play in it, you know, for taking different takes and such.
And I'm kind of an astronomy buff. I've been paying attention to all the different discoveries that we're making here in real life on the Martian planet with our rovers and the helicopters that are flying around on Mars now, and all the discoveries they're making on the moons of Jupiter. I just find it fascinating, and I can just use that as a background to another story. And
Mhm.
to keep, you know, people will notice that who are science fiction fans. They'll think that I'm doing my homework, you know. So
Yeah.
I love to do a lot of research, and even for this book 2095, I have colonies up on the moon. So I did all this research on the moon itself, and it's amazing all the things that I learned just about the moon. You know, it's right there next to us, and it was fascinating. And once I got it as part of the story, people are having a positive reaction to it. So I'm happy to see that.
That is very cool. And I noticed also you've got a kids book, right?
Yeah.
You have a children's book. Talk a little bit about that one. What is it?
I've been mostly promoting my books around Texas, and I've been doing a lot of book festivals in different cities, and I meet a lot of different authors like yourselves, and lots of them are children's book authors, and they do really well. And I started learning more about how to get in touch with people who are illustrators, because I can't draw anything. I'm not a drawer, I'm a writer. And so I came up with an idea. This was all pre-COVID, and wrote a simple story about a girl who travels around the world on this magical castle. And the castle is full of all these exotic animals and birds. And she gets a geography lesson, and she gets a lesson in different animals that she's not aware of. And so it's a very quick and cute story, and with a lot of humor, and humor even adults would appreciate. And it's called This Enchanted Old Room. And
Ooh.
I found an illustrator in Canada. Her name is Emily Zirith. And this was before the pandemic broke out. And we were about to get started on the illustrations when the pandemic started. And so we got kind of delayed, and we didn't get started until maybe October of last year. But then she started working on them in earnest. And she just did a beautiful job in bringing these characters to life, including the lead character there on the cover that you see. That's Penelope. And she is walking down a country path and just stumbles upon a tree root. And it happens to be that tree root is attached to this huge castle. And she gets a tour of the castle, and that's what the story is about. Is she gets a tour of the castle and gets to see all the different rooms, and then all throughout the castle she sees all these different animals that live there, and birds, and she even comes across a dragon or two.
Ooh.
And
now you had Fern at a dragon. I mean, she loves dragons, and she's the queen of sci-fi. You know, Doctor Who did just review her book, so I mean, you are just
I
your
heard
BFF.
about that.
Yeah, your BFF right now is Fern.
My favorite dragons is my little double-headed dragon.
And that's funny. The dragon in my book has 2 heads too.
Oh my goodness! You guys long lost BFFs. I'm telling you, that's awesome. I love it.
And the illustrator Emily, she did just a perfect job, particularly on the dragons. That's probably my favorite picture in the book. The book itself is for kids probably 5 and 6 years old and up, and it's got a little bit more words into it because it's really meant to help kids improve their reading skills, and I call it a bridging book between just your typical picture book and in between trying to get to your chapter books for older kids. And so there is a lot more words to it, but still plenty of colorful illustrations to keep them focused on it, but it's really meant to help them to read more and get more interested in reading.
And see, what people don't realize is, like, for kids, as they're learning to read, the illustrations are supporting, because we all eventually learn to create that image and those pictures in our mind. Right. But when you're first beginning as a kiddo, you really need the pictures there to show you, okay, this picture is what these words are saying. And eventually that picture becomes your own mind creating it. So it's a beautiful thing. I love collecting picture books just for the artwork, because they're just glorious artwork, And yours has a dragon, so I'm gonna buy it. I mean,
Yeah. I told Emily, I said, this is only going to work if we can get the characters the way you're seeing it from the story. And she totally nailed it for every character. I was just very impressed with what she had done.
Yes. And it's not easy working with illustrators, and having them bring your vision of what you want it to look like to life,
I was pleasantly surprised, and that book itself, it came out in May, and it's also getting a very positive response too. And even some teachers have reviewed it for me, and they said, we're going to use this book in our classroom to help kids that are struggling with their reading skills. So I said, this is where I want this to go. I want this to help kids and teachers to use it in the classroom.
Yes, very much so. So as we are coming close to our end time, Amy, do you want to talk about what's coming in Through the Eyes of Authors?
Yes. So, you guys, it is Monday, which means, and Through the Eyes of Authors, we do not have a book launch tonight. That is next Monday. But tonight, we are going to have Fern, me, and Greg on, and we're going to be talking about Indiepalooza and different author and writer resources that are available to you virtually online, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can tune in any part of the world that you're at, that you want to be in, and just dabble in different resources and opportunities for you as a writer in any part of your writer's journey. So the beginning, you're just hesitant thinking about writing. Maybe you're a seasoned writer and you just need some inspiration and something like fire to light underneath you to get those books out. So we are hoping to provide that with all of the information and resources that we know that are available to everybody tonight on Through the Eyes of Authors. You guys know it's tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, 6 Mountain. That's all I know at the moment. Okay, time zones are rough for me, people. They're really rough for me.
Time travel.
I know. I need to.
Time travel.
I would not be a good time traveler person. I'd be like, what? Where am I? Oh my goodness. So how far away is that? It's not my strong suit. But that is what we're learning tonight on Through the Eyes of Authors. I'll drop the link down below if you'd love to join, or send me an email. You guys know my email, Reach Out Abundantly Social. I'm everywhere. Send me a message. Don't hesitate. I will not bite. None of us will bite. You are more than welcome to reach out, and we will help you.
Well, maybe not hard.
I won't bite hard. No, I mean, it depends on the time of day and the day, okay? It depends.
How much coffee have we had?
Don't embarrass yourself again, Amy. You know how you always get embarrassed.
I do. Yes. Well, hey, Russell, I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to go there. But closing statements. I'm going to kick it to Russell first and then Fern. Russell, take it away.
So if we would ask you to do us a favor and share this video on your Facebook, wherever, we'd ask you to go over and subscribe to our YouTube channel to help us out. And we hope you have a good week. I'll see you in about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because
Fern.
Rusty's off on a cruise. Yes, very cool.
Very nice.
Having fun. Fern,
Well,
what about you?
Congratulations, Keith, on your books and
Thank you.
having made a good, productive use of COVID situations, which is really hard. It was really hard.
Thank you.
And and I would hope to see everybody tonight at Through the Eyes of Authors. We're going to talk about what the lineup for Indiepalooza is. We have a lot of great panels and presenters to go over.
Yeah. So you guys don't forget to check out Through the Eyes of Authors. Keith, thank you so much for taking time out of your day this morning to come and talk to us about some of your amazing books. We are so happy to help you. Anytime. Anytime. We'll have to have you back on.
I look forward to Indiepalooza too. That sounds awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. But you're welcome back anytime because I know that you write different genres. And so maybe the next time you come on, we can talk about some of your other books. But you guys, we hope you have a fantastic Monday and a great week. And we'll catch you all here